Everyone thought Jack Sparrow was a fool. They saw the swaying walk, the slurred words, the eyes perpetually glazed with what seemed like rum and recklessness. To the powerful men in crisp uniforms and the cunning men in shadowed corners, he was a clown, a hiccup in their serious plans, a creature of chaos to be used and discarded. They laughed, they dismissed, they confided in front of him as if he were furniture. And in doing so, they always gave him exactly what he needed. Their contempt was his compass. Their whispered conspiracies, spoken aloud because the drunkard won't understand, were his maps. He escaped not in spite of their belief in his stupidity, but because of it. The unlocked cell, the misplaced key, the guard who turns his back. These are not accidents of luck, but the calculated dividends paid by a performance of incompetence. To be thought a fool is to become invisible in the most strategic way. People hide their truths from the clever, but they perform them for the simple. This is a quiet truth, known in the bones of those who have learned to watch from the edges. In a boardroom, a man in a slightly rumpled suit fumbles with the projector remote, a nervous, apologetic smile on his face. The sleek shark to his left size takes control and lays out a plan so predatory, so full of hidden knives, it would make a lawyer blush. The rumpled man nods, eyes wide, absorbing every detail, every unguarded admission of greed. He is not stupid. He is creating a vacuum, and nature, especially human nature, abhors a vacuum. It must be filled with sound, with strategy, with revealing truth. By offering nothing, he is given everything. In a family gathering, the quiet cousin sits, seemingly lost in the pattern of the wallpaper, while alliances form and dissolve over the clink of coffee cups. Aunts wield compliments like scalpels. Uncles boast of successes that are mortgages in disguise. They speak freely, for the cousin is a bit vague, sweet, but not all there. And the cousin sees it, the fragile ego behind the boast, the fear behind the criticism, the intricate web of unspoken debts and loyalties. Their transparency is his library. This performance is not an act of weakness, but a fortress built from perceived frailty. The truly intelligent understand that displayed intellect is a threat. It triggers a defensive sequence in others: challenge, compete, conceal, undermine. To declare your intelligence is to enter an arena you never chose. But to play the fool is to be ushered backstage, where the actors drop their masks and the scripts are discarded. You see the stage hands pulling the ropes, the director's panic, the lead actor's insecurity. This knowledge is a kind of power that no diploma can confer. It is the power of seeing people not as they wish to be seen, but as they are. Fragile, scheming, desperate creatures performing their own endless play for validation and control. Of course, this mask is not forged without cost. It is a solitary path. To be perpetually underestimated is to be perpetually alone. There is a deep, silent loneliness in hearing a friend explain something to you with patronizing simplicity. A hollow ache when a lover shares only half a thought, believing the other half would sail over your head. You become a curator of secrets you can never reveal, an anthropologist in your own life, forbidden from publishing your findings. The mask can fuse to the skin, and there are moments in the dead of night when you wonder if the performance has eaten the performer, if the act of playing empty has somehow hollowed you out for real. This is the emotional toll, the sacrifice of true connection on the altar of strategic observation. You forfeit the warmth of being truly known for the safety of being completely overlooked. And this, perhaps, is the core of it all, a fundamental melancholy understanding of human nature. When you see too clearly, when you can trace the manipulative curl in a smile, hear the subtle coercion in a helpful suggestion, detect the venom in a sugar-coated word, you learn that overt intelligence is met rarely with admiration, and more often with resistance or exploitation. Trust becomes a complicated equation. To show your full mind is to make yourself a target. So, you learn the art of strategic opacity. You ask the naive question that unravels a lie. You play confused to force a clarification that reveals intent. Your silence is not empty. It is a pressure that others feel compelled to fill with their truth. You are not hiding your intelligence. You are using it as a listening device, not a broadcasting tower. And this, perhaps, is the core of it all, a fundamental, melancholy understanding of human nature. When you see too clearly, when you can trace the manipulative curl in a smile, hear the subtle coercion in a helpful suggestion, detect the venom in a sugar-coated word, you learn that overt intelligence is met rarely with admiration, and more often with resistance or exploitation. Trust becomes a complicated equation. To show your full mind is to make yourself a target. So, you learn the art of strategic opacity. You ask the naive question that unravels a lie. You play confused to force a clarification that reveals intent. Your silence is not empty. It is a pressure that others feel compelled to fill with their truth. You are not hiding your intelligence. You are using it as a listening device, not a broadcasting tower. Think of those moments in your own life, the time you bit your tongue while someone condescended to you, all the while seeing the fragile ego that necessitated their performance. The occasion you played naive to a sales pitch and watched as the practiced facade crumbled into desperate, revealing hard sell. The friend who gave you advice, laced with hidden envy, believing you wouldn't detect the sour note. You saw it. You always see it. And in that moment, you made a choice. To engage the battle of wits and egos, or to step back, let them have their stage, and gather the intelligence that falls from their pockets. You chose the deeper game. This is not about winning an argument. It is about understanding the battlefield so completely, you never have to fire a shot. The world is loud with people proclaiming their cleverness, selling their certainty, performing their competence. It is a cacophony of display, but in the eye of that storm, there are those who are still. They have learned that the most profound truths are never announced. They leak out in unguarded moments, in the sighs after a lie, in the aggression behind a joke, in the plans shared too freely with a perceived simpleton. Their strength is not in assertion, but in absorption. They navigate the social labyrinth not by charging through walls, but by noticing that some walls are painted on, and some doors are only visible when you look like you couldn't possibly find a handle. So the next time you encounter someone the world has written off as a fool, pause, look closer. The unfocused eyes might be absorbing the whole room. The clumsy words might be carefully unpolished stones, dropped to hear the echo in the well of other people's intentions. They are not missing the point. They are mapping the entire geometry of the conversation from a vantage point no one else thought to occupy. They have traded the fleeting satisfaction of looking smart for the enduring power of being aware. This is the final, quiet realization, the one that settles like dust in a shaft of light. Some people don't pretend to be stupid because they are weak. They do it because they understand the world and the people in it a little too well. And in that understanding, they find a freedom that the supposedly smart can only ever pretend to have.